So Manchester United's third goal in this game was a perfect example of how you can use a counter-press as an offensive weapon. It did seem like for this 5-second period, McTominay turned into the perfect counter-pressing central midfielder, and I'm going to break down why later on in the video. But overall, this was a definition of a game of two halves. United were lucky not to be 2-0 down going into half-time, with United continuing to be vulnerable when the opposition counter quickly through the centre of the pitch. And even though I was extremely impressed with the 3 goals that United scored in the second half, the issues in central midfield cannot be overlooked. But before I break down all of that, for cheap good quality football jerseys, go over to primefootballshirts.com. They have a great variety of different football shirts from Premier League to European sides, with shirts costing around £30, which is at least half of what you'd pay from an official retailer. And also they do have free worldwide delivery, which is going to save you another £5 to £10 as well. So if you're interested, click the link in the description below and use code SUPER at checkout to get 10% off. So going into this game, we saw that Manchester United were continuing to use the 4-3-3 system that we saw them use against Aston Villa, and in possession this would become a 2-3-2-3 shape, with Brentford defending quite passively in the middle third in a 5-3-2 shape. McTominay sat as a deep single pivot when United had possession, with Bruno Fernandes and Fred pushing up in behind the Brentford midfield line. On the right side we saw Mason Greenwood holding his advanced width, with Dalot taking up a narrower position wide of Brentford's front 5. Now this would have been exactly what I would have done in this situation, as by having Greenwood holding his width wide, this pushed Brentford back into a back 5, with Canos having to follow his run, and with Brentford now pushed back into that flat back 5, United now have more space either side of Brentford's midfield and front 2. On the left side we did see Alex Telles pushing further forward, holding the width on the left flank, allowing Elanga to move infield into the half space, and it was really Bruno Fernandes and Elanga who were the two playing in between the lines when United had the ball. And that was how United were looking to transition the attack forward, by playing passes in behind that Brentford midfield line for players like Elanga and Bruno Fernandes to then try to create. But in the first half defensively, Brentford were excellent. They defended in a 5-3-2 shape, with their front 5 creating a narrow pentagon, and they were excellent at cutting the passing lanes, stopping United being able to move the ball into the midfield line. And you can see here Mbeumo's doing an excellent job of cutting that passing lane, and when the ball is eventually moved into Bruno Fernandes in the centre of the pitch, Norgard is quick to push out of that midfield line to instantly apply the pressure and stop Bruno Fernandes being able to turn on the ball. Now a significant difference we're seeing from the start of Rangnick's tenure to now is that Bruno Fernandes is taking up positions in possession a lot deeper, playing more as a conventional central midfielder now, and that is because I think Rangnick recognises that with Fred and McTominay in those deeper midfield positions, United do lack creativity, so if he can have Bruno Fernandes floating between the lines and moving into deep positions, he can get on the ball and be United's main progressor in the centre of the pitch. And so I think that's why Fernandes' position has changed, and it's going to be interesting to see what Rangnick does when Paul Pogba comes back in the side, whether he'll relinquish Fernandes and allow him to push further forward and give that job to Paul Pogba, or whether he'll continue with Bruno Fernandes in this role, with Pogba playing a similar role on the other side, and have them alternate positions when United do have the ball against a deep, compact defensive unit like Brentford were in this game. But Brentford did look to press United high from their build-up. We would see them push up in a man-to-man pressing system, with one of the midfield 3 pushing up from the midfield line to push on to McTominay and stop United being able to play out from the back, and this was effective as United were forced long on multiple occasions. I am a massive fan of this kind of approach from sides who aren't going to dominate possession, as it can be very easy for sides to just allow the possession dominant side to move out of their defensive third with the ball and retain a compact defensive unit. But all this means is that you're constantly defending in your middle third, which allows the opposition side to dominate the ball higher up the pitch, and eventually a positional mistake will happen and the opposition side will break through your defensive system no matter how disciplined you think you are. And so by pressing higher up the pitch, you either force the opposition side to look to play out from the back, giving you the opportunity to win the ball high up the pitch, or go long from the build up, which then gives you the opportunity to win the ball back in your own half. But we can see just how much Manchester United struggled in this first half, as going into half time they recorded an XG of just 0.19 to Brentford's 1.48, showing that just by dominating possession doesn't necessarily mean you're going to create the best chances in the game. And United struggled to move the ball forward into the final third, because under pressure in the centre of midfield, I felt their players were terrible in playing forward passes. I don't want to continually criticise Fred and McTominay, but in the first half, I felt that Fred in particular was constantly playing the easy pass. If he received the ball in space in his own half, rather than driving forward or looking for a forward pass through the centre, he would often go and play the ball out wide to someone like Mason Greenwood, who was deep on the flank, and this would just allow Brentford to shift over to that side, squeeze a play and force United back, and the opportunity to transition the attack quickly was gone. But when United were able to move into Brentford's half, I thought United lacked the ability to play those through passes to find Ronaldo's runs. Elanga was guilty of this, but I also felt Greenwood was the most in this game, certainly in the first half, receiving the ball and often driving into a crowded area and not looking for that quick pass that would have released Ronaldo. Brentford on the other hand were having more success playing a different brand of football. They would look to play out from the back on occasion, with United defending in a 4-2-3-1, but they wouldn't give United the opportunity to press them high. Instead they would usually go long straight from the centre backs, either looking for a direct ball into Mbeumo, who would drop off from the forward line, or into Tony's chest higher up the pitch. But it wasn't really from these kinds of situations where Brentford had their success. Their first big chance of the game was when Dallon misplaced a pass in his own defensive third, and Brentford actually showed how to counter-press effectively, with Mbeumo straight away turning and driving at the back line, and he created a chance for Jensen, who should have finished the opportunity, but it was a fantastic save from De Gea. And Brentford's second big opportunity in the first half came from when they countered from a United corner. The ball ended up on the right flank with Mbeumo, and for some reason United have no midfield security from the corner, and the centre of the field is completely open. Mbeumo's ball in field finds Janel, and he plays an excellent first time cross-field pass to release Ivan Toney. Now I do think that Dallon would have helped himself significantly if he'd just stepped up and he would have played the Brentford players offside, and then he confronted Toney too early, opening up the space to Jensen. The pass goes into Jensen, and once again he should score, but it's a fantastic save from De Gea, who saved United from two chances that probably should have been goals, and probably would have been had the chances fallen to one of Brentford's better finishers. However, United went in at half time at 0-0 and came out a completely different side. Just a quick reminder, if you do want great quality football jerseys at a fantastic price, click the link in the description. It will take you over to primefootballshirts.com, and you can check out the jerseys on their site, and they also provide free worldwide delivery as well, and if you use code SUPER at checkout you'll also get 10% off. And the 3 goals that were scored in the second half are probably 3 of United's best team goals this season. The first comes as United have the ball in Brentford's defensive third as they sit off with every man behind the ball in their 5-3-2 defensive shape. Fred picks up the ball, and you can see here that because Alex Telles has advanced down the left side, this allows Elanga to make a perfect diagonal run in behind the Brentford back line. Fred's pass is absolutely perfect, and the youngster manages to get the ball under control before heading it past the keeper. This is an example of exactly the type of run that United were lacking in the first half. In the first half there was a real lack of movement when United had the ball in advanced areas. It seemed that only Ronaldo was making those runs in behind the back line, but with Elanga holding his width initially in the final third and then making that well-timed run, this gave United's central midfielders the opportunity to play these balls in behind the Brentford back line. But the most credit in this goal has to go to Fred, who performed an absolutely world-class pass. The second United goal once again comes from one of the central midfielders, this time McTominay, breaking the lines of play with a direct pass into the forward line. It's a lofted ball into Ronaldo's chest, and as Ronaldo's dropping off from the forward line, he drags a centre-back with him. And Bruno Fernandes' reading of this situation is what really makes this goal. The chest off from Ronaldo is perfect. Fernandes bursts away from the Brentford players, runs through on goal, and simply plays it across for Greenwood to tap in. And even though the first goal was an excellent team goal with Fred and Elanga performing their part, I thought this goal was even better, with McTominay showing the forward passing ability that United lacked in the first half, and Ronaldo and Fernandes being on exactly the same wavelength to create the opportunity for Greenwood. However, as I said at the start of the video, it's probably the third United goal which I enjoyed the most, because it involved a counter press, and United performed it perfectly. So you can see here Brentford have the ball in the centre of the pitch, and their pass almost gets them in behind the midfield line, but McTominay reads the pass perfectly, makes the interception and the tackle to win the ball back, and then turns into the perfect gegenpressing central midfielder, having the ability to bypass 2 Brentford players, now moving the ball in behind Brentford's midfield line. He lays the ball off to Bruno Fernandes, and now Manchester United are running in behind Brentford's back line. The pass to Rashford is perfect, and his first time finish into the top of the net, showcasing how good Rashford's finishing ability can be when he gets into these wide shooting positions in the box. But despite Rashford's finish, McTominay has to be given most credit for this goal. He showed excellent awareness and aggression to win the ball back in the centre of the pitch, but he didn't stop there, because as I've said, Ranić's style of play is not going to be win the ball back and look to play a sideways pass to retain possession. It's all about winning the ball back and then looking to progress the ball vertically, trying to catch the opposition players out of position, which is exactly what McTominay did here. And if he hadn't gone past those 2 Brentford players in the centre of the pitch, Fernandes would have never had the opportunity to play in Rashford, and the goal would have never come about. And that is why in this sort of system, when United look to press aggressively and in possession they look to move the ball forward vertically at pace, United United need pretty much an all-round central midfielder. A midfielder who has a defensive ability to put in tackles or read the game to put in interceptions to win the ball back in the centre of the pitch. But then when he has the ball, he has the ability to either play incisive passes to move the ball forward quickly or carry the ball through the centre of the pitch using his dribbling ability, pace and power, which is exactly what McTominay showed here. Also, if you do like the look of these phone cases, I'll leave the link in the description below. Anything you buy will help support the channel. My personal favourite is the Ronaldo Sue celebration one, even though I do also like the Fergie one as well. But be sure to go over to the site linked in the description. They've got a lot of other designs as well, and if you use code AF at checkout, you should get 25% off as well. But as the first half suggested, United still need massive upgrades in the centre of midfield, and I am midway through a series where I look at who United should sign to create their perfect gegenpressing side. I've already got videos looking at the right back and creative central midfielder Manchester United should sign, as well as some alternative options as well, and I am planning to release a video looking at the ball-winning central midfielder United should sign, so definitely subscribe and click the bell for that, and go to the description to check out that playlist. It will be linked down there.